Hey folks, Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking, where we talk about all kinds of fun and cool things that have to do with mountain bikes. In tonight's video, we'll be talking to Jason Ziegler, owner of Sussex Bike Shop, and we're going to be covering the 5 emergency bike hacks you should know about when you're out on the trails. All right, folks, once again, Gene from Regular Guy Mountain Biking. I am here at Sussex County Bike Shop with my buddy Jason Ziegler.
How's it going?
How you doing, my friend?
What's up?
He is the owner of this fine bike shop, as well as another bike shop. That one is in Andover, correct?
Yeah, Andover, known as Newton Sparta Road, kind of falls between Newton and Sparta. There's a little bit of Andover sticking out there. Kittatinny State Park is where we're next to.
Perfect, perfect. What are we going to cover tonight, my friend?
We're going to cover broken spoke,
Okay.
blown out chain, derailleur. You know, how to get it to engage where we want it to engage so we can ride out. Slash tire. It's always a fun one. Even with tubeless, it's still a problem.
It happens.
Right? And I think the last one we're going to cover is that dropper post that it's a gotta have. People love to have them, but what happens when it's not working?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And unfortunately, it does happen here and there. So we'll give you some tips on that. So folks, you stay tuned. We're going to go through these 5 emergency bike hacks that you should know about when you're out in the trails. So I think the first one we're going to cover is the flat tire, right?
Yeah, more importantly, the gashed out tire. We're going to simulate that right now. We're going to use this tire, and holy cow, yeah, my goodness, we've got a gash, a sidewall gash, right? Okay. Even worse than usual.
You're really dedicated to this example.
Well, yeah, remember that tire that you wanted later?
Yeah, this no.
Sorry, bud.
I got it on sale.
That's right, that's right. Yep. So we're going to go ahead and fix that, and we're going to make sure that we, you know, tube's not going to stay in there. Just putting a tube in is not going to help us. We're going to have to back that up with something. Gene, do you have money on you?
Yes, I think I do. You want my money?
Yeah, no change.
I got lots of money.
Sweet, sweght. Tell you what, you can keep those. I'll take this.
You're gonna take the 100.
Yeah, thanks, man. You're good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and solve this problem here. So again, one of the strongest pieces of paper out there, money.
All joking aside, there is really a reason why you're using a bill.
Absolutely, it is strong. Most people usually have a couple bucks with them when they're riding, right? So we're going to get that to lay up in there like so. Gotcha. Now, you know, a lot of people will be like, wait a minute, I saw this thing in the store called a tire boot, and that's great and all, and you'll see these floating around in the stores, right? We carry them. The tire boots are adhesive backed from Park Tool, and they're actually pretty awesome, right? They almost look like a vinyl pool kind of sticker, right?
Sticker type of thing.
Yeah, the problem is if it's tubeless, it's all wet and sticky and gummy, and this isn't gonna stick, right? Good point. So nice to have, but sometimes, well, a $100 bill is just gonna work better for us, right? So we're gonna make sure we line everything up appropriately. You know, fold it over maybe if we have to. And once we have everything in place, we're gonna go ahead and put that tube in. Now, as I always say is, you're putting a tire and a tube and wheel together and stuff. Right. We're gonna instead of putting 3 pieces together, we're gonna put 2 pieces together. Okay. And this will help hold that in place by putting that tube in there. And then we know that dollar bill's being held in position.
The tube kind of holds it there.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're in place. Now we can start go ahead and fill her up. All right, Gene. So I went ahead, filled up the tire and such, and you can see I put it right near the valve. And you can actually see where that piece of paper, that dollar bill, or better yet, your $100 bill, is holding about 45 pounds of air back. So not too shabby. That will definitely get you out of the woods with no problem. Heck, for that matter, have enough confidence in it, go finish the ride. Yeah,
that'll actually work out pretty good. So that actually works.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
That is pretty cool. All right, so one more reason to keep some money with you and why credit cards get you in trouble. Because you can't shove a credit card in there.
That's right.
All right, that's one. Let's talk about number 2. What's number 2 for us?
Number 2, we'll do the broken spoke.
Okay,
what do we do?
Broken spoke stuff. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so this one is going to be the broken spoke hack, right?
Yeah, happens pretty often, unfortunately.
All right. So what happens when? Okay, well, a spoke breaks.
Yeah, well,
I'm with you on that part.
What? Yeah, I mean, in fact, heck, a spoke breaks.
You are really getting into this tonight, dude.
Right? I mean, spoke breaks. Things happen. In fact, a lot of times when derailleurs hit, 2 break, right? It's a problem. So now we've got these spokes. They're dangling around, right? What are we going to do in order to make this better and be able to ride out? And one thing I wanted to point out here is you can see how far off this really gets.
It does. It does. Yeah, it really takes it out of true.
Yeah,
quite a
we
bit.
have to worry about a couple things. One, damaging the rim as far as it getting out of round. Damaging frames. You know, you're riding aluminum, carbon, all that. Eventually, those tires, man, they could burn right through there. So
that's a good point.
What we're going to do is ultimately is to try to straighten the wheel best possible before leaving the woods. Right. We just broke the drive side spokes. Okay. Which means this side has lost all its pull. Okay. Well, we're going to loosen the opposite ones directly next to them, and if we loosen them a little bit, that's going to allow us to then straighten that wheel out just enough to ride home.
So folks, real quick, we won't go into a whole truing lesson over here, but bottom line is the spokes pull the rim from the left and to the right. Since Jason cut 2 spokes that were pulling it from one direction, the other spokes are counteracting that and really yanking it the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
So now his rims completely, or wherever dropped this bike off to get repaired, is way out of whack. And so you're gonna help that now by loosening the other spokes a little bit.
Yeah. So we're gonna hopefully have a multi-tool that has a spoke wrench built into it, and that's gonna help us loosen these guys up. All right. So once we have our multi-tool, we're gonna go ahead and actually loosen the other side's spokes. Right around the ones that are broken. We're not going to get silly. We're not going to go too far. And by loosening these just a little bit, it's going to straighten that rim out. It'll allow us to just get out of the woods, get back to the shop, get some spokes replaced.
Pretty cool. So by doing that, you'll bring the rim true enough.
Well, true enough. It's probably not going to be perfect. And more importantly is when you do get back to the shop, let the guys know, hey, I did loosen some spokes up to try to get out of the woods. Make a big difference on what their job and what they have to do. We still have another problem though. All these spokes getting ready to rack themselves right into that cassette or rear derailleur. So we're going to just take these guys and we're either going to lace them through, and depending on where they broke, sometimes you just have to take them, bend them over.
I mean, they're broken anyway. Right?
Exactly.
So it's not like
you're not helping them. We're not reusing them. So
yeah, so you can't say, hey, look, I want to save 15 cents. Can you reuse?
Exactly. Just get rid of it. It's done. It's better than walking out. No one likes a hike a bike. So there we go.
Wow. It ain't pretty, but it's going to save your buns.
That's right. It'll actually probably save your derailleur, maybe your chain, and keep everything intact. So you can just fix spokes.
And you know what, folks? I kind of figured we'd do something with the spokes like that. But I would have forgotten about the truing of the wheel. I really would. I've been like still stressed out. I got to get out of here. I'm like, so maybe would have thought of that, but I totally would have forgotten about the truing of the wheel. So that's a good one.
That's a big problem because leaving it too untrue, if it's touching off on that frame, it does not take long to burn through a frame with a tire. And nowadays tires, everyone's stretching their max limits. So yeah, a little straightening.
Good hack. Okay, we got more to come. All right, number 3 is what?
We're going to cover a broken chain.
Okay, that does happen a lot.
Oh yeah, especially in northern New Jersey. Yeah. Fall time's coming, leaves are on the ground, those rocks and sticks just come out and bite things.
Yeah,
it's usually your chain.
Yeah, so, you're right, you're totally right.
We've got a problem. Usually when a chain breaks, that thing gets wrapped around and it's all a big old mess and tossed into all different sorts of places. And with that, well, a lot of times the derailleur itself can take some hits. And you can see this one's actually all flexed out. It's lost its bridge. The cage is shot, so it's like, man, wait, you know what? We definitely want to bypass that guy. Right? We just want to get out of the woods.
So you're basically turning into a borderline single speed.
Yeah.
Especially if everyone has a 1x now, so we really are making it a single speed.
Exactly. We're making it a single speed. We're going to pick a gear that makes sense for where you're riding. You know, think about your ride home, where you're going to go. We want to make sure that we're good to go. So in order to do this, we're going to pick a gear. We're going to have to chop that chain down, right? So where are we going to be here? All right, we need to make sure that it's going to be tight enough, but not too tight. You know, we don't want to kill this thing. We don't want to rip another part of chain off on our way home, right? So when we cut this, we're going to make sure we hit a good marker. That when we put it back together, we got a decent.
What's a good gauge? What does someone look for?
Well, usually if you are running a triple still, middle chain ring, if you're in a 2x setup, you'll probably want to go into that outer chain ring.
Gotcha.
And then maybe somewhere into those easier back gears, you know, the top 3 or 4.
And you just kind of tension it to what you think is kind of good.
Yeah, exactly. You know, something that you can, you know, ride what you need to ride home and not have to walk a ton. You know, that's the whole idea. So when we break this chain, we're going to use our multi-tool here. And we're pushing a pin clean out. Okay. and we're going to get rid of that excess chain. So here's the important part. When we cut the chain, we've left the female portion, all right? Because we're going to have to bring them together here, and we're going to have to make it one piece of chain, all right? So we're going to need a female. Hey, you know what? We're going to need a female on this side. And you know why, Gene? Is because wonderful world of technology, power links.
Okay, so yeah, you want to keep some power links with you.
Yeah, we're going to want to do this. We're going to want to, why not? I mean, we're talking about $3, $5 maybe a pair. They don't take up a whole heck of a lot of room in the bag. It's worth having. The big part, though, is bypassing that rear derailleur.
I agree.
Making sure that you don't do all this work to put in a power link and then it gets ripped and torn off.
That's a great hack. You know, that's a great
right?
emergency hack. Totally a great hack.
So we're going to make sure that we remove both sides.
So you want to end up with a female on both sides?
On both sides.
Okay, but you measured it to the right size because you knew you were going to put another link in to replace. Gotcha. Okay,
now,
cool.
one of the things to point out too is that if this was a full suspension bike, you have to account for that suspension moving. Yeah, or else you can put it on, you sit down on the bike, and wham, you're ripping that chain clean off the bike again, right?
So that's tough.
Yeah.
Lock out your suspension the best you can too, right?
Well, you can definitely lock it out. You know, a lot of people be like, "Oh, I'll just take the air out of the suspension." No, don't do that.
No,
you know, if
why
you
would
were
you do that?
Yeah, well, they think it's already compressed. It won't move anymore. The problem is you're going to damage those internals. So we definitely don't want to do that.
Do not do that.
Crazy.
No.
So now that we have our two female portions, these links are designed to oppose each other. See that? I'm going to bring them together here. Now they're not pushed together quite yet, right? They're not quite there, and that's because we're going to create some tension on them. And to do that, we're going to go to the top of the chain. All right, so here we go. So we've made our way into position here, and this is where we pick that gear. Now again, if you have a little bit of slack, that's fine. We'd much prefer a tiny bit of slack than we would want to be so tight that it's going to blow itself up again.
Makes sense, right.
So there's our hack. Bypass the derailleur. If it's not bent and all out of mismangled and looking like it's going to eat spokes, leave it there. Just let it go, and we can now pedal our way home.
Gotcha.
And probably right to the bike shop.
Good hack, good hack. That's a really good hack. All right, cool. All right, couple more?
Yeah.
Okay, number 4 is?
We have a broken cable.
Broken cable.
Now, it happens quite often nowadays. You notice this particular bike has an entirely encased cable going from front to back. A lot of them are internally rooted. So where you used to have exposed wire and you could see a fray occurring and something going on, not so much. You usually go, my shifting doesn't feel right, and then whammo. It's done. It's done. And what it will do, of course, is bottom all the way out to the hardest gear possible, right? Thank you, engineers. That was wonderful. But, well, we're going to use nature to help us. We got some rocks and maybe a stick or two, and this will help us out, all right? So let's...
It got me baffled on this
one.
Yeah,
let's pick a rock.
Okay.
I like that one.
That's a good rock.
Okay,
I like that rock.
All right,
That's a good
rock. When you look at a derailleur, if we push on this, you'll notice that it will actually spring up, and if you take a look at right in this area here, you'll see we have that gap that opens and closes, right? Well, we are literally going to just shove a rock or a stick in there. And and we're just going to keep it. There we go. So far, we've gained a few gears, right? Now, sometimes just based on what rocks you find, or gosh, hopefully you're not in Moab where there's no rocks.
No rocks. Right? No shortage of rocks in way on northern Jersey.
No, not
freaking
at all.
boulders you can shove inside this derailleur.
So sometimes it's also the stick. All right. Now, so long as it's pointing away from your wheel and such, you're good to go. Now, by all means, if you think that, oh, forget this, I'm not doing this, I just bought a nice GX Eagle 12, then forget it, I'm not doing that. I'm not
people are thinking that right now. I'm losing subscribers right now going, this guy's, what kind of hack is this?
That is possible, but more importantly though is maybe look down at your GPS, and if you find that you've got 9 miles to get out of the woods.
Yeah, shove the rock in. Shove
it in there.
Yeah.
All right, so based on what you put in there, you'll be able to keep that gap, keep it nice and wide, and pick a gear that's going to be a whole lot easier.
That's a really good idea. And you know what, if you use the stick, you really can kind of take care of, nothing's going to get scratched or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's a little softer really good hack. And stuff. But yeah.
That's a really good hack. All right, I like that one.
Awesome.
All right, folks, here we are. Emergency bike hack number 5 is
dropper post.
Dropper post.
Stuck down.
Yes, that
needs
happens.
It needs a little blue pill in order to kind of find its way back up.
Right.
But you know, a lot of times you're set your riding height and such, and this thing just fails. You know, it's common off in the cold and things, and just hey, stuff happens, right? It's mechanical. So pretend that thing is sucked down there and it's not coming up. Well, a lot of people, you know, they're like, oh man, what am I going to do?
Right.
Now, if you did have a rock shocks, they're going to give you, on the reverb, they're going to give you a collar, and that collar, you'll be able to actually pull it up into position and tighten that collar down, and it makes it into a rigid post.
Okay.
Pretty awesome on them to think that far ahead, right? But we're going to go a little bit further, just in case we don't have one of those. You know, you had it, maybe you left it at home.
Gotcha.
Saving weight.
Saving weight, yeah.
So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're actually going to remove the lever. All right. So removing the lever right now does absolutely nothing for us as far as the functionality of the seat post. What it's really going to help us with is the ability to pull this cable up out of the frame.
Oh, I see.
Right? So hey, that seat is stuck down. Well, let's go ahead and raise the seat up. All right.
So what you're basically saying is, look, the seat post is shot.
It's shot.
So
we know it's not coming up.
Go another direction.
Go another direction. So let's go ahead and make room. Now the reason we have to remove this off of the handlebar is just to make room so when we're pulling on the cabling or the hosing, if it's hydraulic system, and allowing us to pull that up through. So here's an important part though. We don't want to just yank on this thing. You know, yeah, it's broken, but let's not make things really bad. We're going to feed this cable through as we lift up.
Gotcha.
And that's going to help us lift this into position. Once you think you've got a point that you've found your seat height and we're not above the maximum height for that seat post, we'll go ahead and tighten that down. Make sure we're pointing straight, all that good stuff, because plan is to ride out of the woods, right?
Exactly.
So now we have this, and you can tell if we were to leave that on, there is no way that handlebar would actually, would not function properly with that too tight. So we've pulled it off. Now, if you want, you can definitely attach it to the other side. It's not functional, so long as you can still turn your bars effectively. Sure. The other thing is too, doesn't take up a whole lot of space, but having a couple zip ties around, not a bad deal.
I always have zip ties in my bag. I mean,
good deal, right?
They just like, it doesn't weigh anything, and they can do everything. It's like that and duct tape are just a miracle.
Exactly. So we'll just go ahead and attach this to make sure it's out there, out of the way, not going to harm anything. And then we can go ahead and pedal home.
I like that tip. I like that tip. Definitely a good definitely a good hack because you're thinking all mechanical over here, and what you really got to do is just take a break and just raise the seat.
Just raise the seat back up, just like it was rigid again.
Good one. I like that one too.
Awesome.
All right, folks, that was the top 5 emergency bike hacks you should know out in the woods. So I want to thank you, Jason.
No problem.
Thank you very much. I also would love to get my $100 back.
All right, well, it's in there.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
No problem.
Hey, folks, hopefully you enjoyed this video. We had some fun making it, but there's no joke. When you're stuck in the woods, you know what? Calm down, take a second, take a deep breath, and think about some of these bike hacks, because they could really help you, so I appreciate you coming through with these.
Awesome.
All right, if you'd like to know more about these, put some comments down below, click subscribe, click like, share these videos, all that kind of good stuff. Visit Jason's site. I'll put a link to that on the bottom.
Sweet.
A good deal.
Awesome.
Keep the party on the pedals, my friends, and we'll catch you in the next video. Good night.
See you.